need to search Google search. You don't need to do any Google search for this. Look at our own respective life. Look at our surroundings. Look at from morning till night, what do we observe? And all answers are around us. You got the homework, what we had thought about. Introspection on two aspects. Number one, is there true love in this world? If it is, where it can be found? Number two, what is temporary, what is permanent? The first part was made based on the discussions we had in the first session. Because we actually questioned the fundamentals of our life. And based on the debate, we asked this question, let's introspect as homework. Is there any true love? If it is, where it can be found? And second is, what is temporary, what is permanent? Because wahan se humko disha milegi, where do we go? Where do we seek our true nature? Okay, if you have done, fine. If you're not done, think on the spot. Okay, rare in today's day, no according to me. Okay, so that's the answer from Meenu auntie on, is there true love? If it is, where it can be found? Okay.
Siddharth, can I just point?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, see, while I was thinking about this through the week about love, divine love, I don't know if I could imagine, but I realized that a human heart knows only human love. I don't know if we can reach the divine stage. And then I was reading Sanatan Sarthi or something of Baba's, some thought, and maybe on my phone or whatever. And he said, keep God in your heart. You know, उनको स्थित करो अपने heart में. फिर मैंने बाबा को कहा कि बाबा मेरे heart में तो मेरे बच्चे रहते हैं, तो क्या करूं? So I don't know from where the answer came. He's saying, I am in your children. So that means I am in your heart. So I don't know whether it's anything valid with your questions.
No, that it's not directly related to the question on hand, but the important aspect you mentioned about that I am in your heart, and that's a destination. So you are absolutely right, and it's Bhagwan's message that God lives in our heart, which is absolute truth because it's come from God himself. The only thing is that's a destination. How do we reach is the process that we will discuss. How to reach that point. Uske baad, there is a second element which your conscience told you that I am in your children. Now to see God in everybody else is the finale. It's like you've reached, even sitting in a destination, you've actually been one with God, where you see not only children, in everybody you see God. But that's a second, level which we have to reach and which will, take some time for us to go through. We will not be able to cover in today or next session. We can have a separate session on how to see God in everyone. But there is a journey, there is a path, which is the same path to reach both this destiny. Okay. But the question is again, is there a true love in this world? If it is, where we can find?
So that, if I may request, if you, and just as at the end, so if you, since you have that Swami's definition of true love, right? If it's written somewhere, do you mind posting it here so that people can think about it then, right? While we are talking as to, is there that kind of love? Because defining what true love is also the first stage, and then building on it is to see, do we find it? Otherwise, we'll keep going in circles around what true love is and what divine love is.
No. So definition of true love is more or less done. We discussed last time. I'm putting it in
right.
the chat.
No. So that's what. So in the sense, when we say, do we find it here? Then people will like, again, we can go back. So this is, thanks for posting it. So I think this is a good place for us to think about, is this kind of love anywhere? Right. But Aarti, do you want to say something? Sorry, please go ahead.
Basically, I see, or what I feel is that Bhagwan is in everyone. So I have seen true love in glimpses, not like throughout, but in glimpses in people in different situations. So definitely, I mean, I'll put my mother in that. I would also say, and this is not my personal thing, but all the COVID doctors and even the people who really were out there and doing it, at one point they just lost sense of me, mine, and they were just there for everybody. Then the other example which stands out is Captain Vikram Batra. When during Kargil, his commanding officer was the one who was to lead that charge, and his commanding officer was married and having kids. So he actually pushed him back at that point, and he said that, I am not married and I don't have any responsibility, so I will lead the charge. And either I will conquer the peak and put the flag there, or I will come back wrapped up in the flag. Either ways, I'll conquer that. And he was the hero of the Kargil, this thing. And then going back a little into history, Prithviraj Chauhan was saved by his the lady who took care of him, because she put her son in place of him when the Mughals were coming to kill, and she sacrificed her son and she took him and she saved him. So I think that we are capable of that kind of love. Only if you ask me if I've seen it all the time in any person, maybe the answer would be no. But I do see Bhagwan in people, yeah, because I don't see him as an idol or someone to be worshipped. I just see him in people. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, so I think well said. So some important points here to mention is, see, there are remnants of pure love that we can display in our life. Either we display in different occasions, or what we hear from people, or what we see from people. So there are remnants, no doubt, because that's our true nature. Our true nature will emanate. Its only important point is, when we start thinking from our heart, the true love will manifest more frequently. When we start thinking from the head, there will be always a dichotomy. Should I, shouldn't I? Should I, shouldn't I? Karu, nahi karu. But if you are thinking from the heart, if you look at all the great people in the world, you always thought from the heart. That's why they're very unique. The heart cannot differentiate. So there are instances in our life when we very subtly, unknowingly, we think from the heart and we go ahead and do it. And because all the kinds of sacrifice, all kinds of selflessness emanates from the heart, not from the head. So when you talked about Captain Vikram Batra, it is purely from the heart. He just gave, that's all. He gave himself. Thinking, see, if you start thinking, then the selfishness comes from here. What about my life? I'm yet to see the entire life ahead. Iska to shaadi bhi ho chuka hai. He has seen some element of it. Your head will start thinking in those directions. But when you're thinking from the heart, you're willing to give yourself. Which is where we discussed last time also in the last session, where, about Swami's own episode, when somebody was trying to, harm Swami, Swami was all for him. Swami said, you know, I know, but my heart doesn't know. It cannot differentiate. It just gives. Okay. Now, how to go about thinking from the heart, from the head? It's a journey by itself, which we will take it separately. But there are, aspects in creation which are constantly giving us pure love. I'm giving you a lot of hints. Maybe for the time's sake, I'll maybe answer this question. Pick up.
Auntie was picking up, raising her hand, Siddharth.
You have a question? Sorry. I thought she said I agree. That's why I moved.
I thought she was saying she has the answer now, I think. Did you, Auntie? Feel free to share a few. You're on mute, Auntie.
You're on mute. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, so we see true love actually in creation, in the trees, in the rivers, in actually all of nature. I'm not so sure. I haven't thought that much about animals, but definitely in Prakriti, as we say, yes, there is absolute true love. The sun, the moon, the stars, the clouds, the rain, and then going on to all the rest of it. So yes, that is absolute, and that is a form of the divine only. I mean, so we are also divine, but we've been given the power of wisdom and we use it. We don't just feel, we think. And that's where the difference and differentiation comes up.
I think you hit the nail on the head, because that was the answer which I was looking for. Because you pick up, and we are, unfortunately, because they keep giving us, many times we are not thankful. We're not grateful to the nature. And there was, because we are going through COVID times, a lot of messages on WhatsApp did come that one of the persons actually cried after he came out from the COVID, because he realized that oxygen which God has been giving him is free. And today that oxygen he had to pay from his nose, which actually saved him. So oxygen, sun, moon, stars, all the 5 elements, the wind, everything that we receive from nature, it doesn't differentiate in anybody, whether it is animals, human beings, plants, it just gives. That's a clear-cut form of, that's why nature is teaching us what is pure love. It just gives. And many times we end up harming them, still it gives. Even more closer to the external natures, look at our own body. Look at our own body. The kind of food that we eat, that sometimes we overeat, sometimes we eat at different time zones and indiscipline in our food, still the body continues to work for us, never complains, till it breaks down, till it cannot take on any more of the challenges that we are throwing at it, it gives up. But तब तक अपना heart, एक भी दिन heart बोला है कि आज Sunday है मैं rest लेता हूँ. It continues to pump. Lungs continues to pump air, takes oxygen and throws out carbon dioxide. Your stomach and digestion system continues to work irrespective of whatever atyachar we do on it. So very close to our own physical body also is teaching us that, the pure love. It just gives and gives till it breaks down, because uska bhi limitation, it's a physical form. Nature also is a physical manifestation of divinity. So sometimes it does give, but it keeps on giving till the best of its capabilities. So nature is a very great example of pure love, which is in existence. And that's why many of the scriptures, if you see, they always tell us that learn from the nature around. We don't need to read any other books anywhere. The moment we follow, the sun constantly rises and gives us the warmth, always. It doesn't differentiate anybody. Ki ye acha, ye bura hai. It just gives. So a bit of element, if we can pick up from them, then that same love, pure love, can be developed within ourselves. So that's a great answer. Thanks for sharing that. Moving to the next question. What is temporary? What is permanent? This is extremely critical question for us to find in the right direction the so-called love, which is our true nature is. What is temporary? What is permanent? Anybody? I would like somebody else to answer now. Look at your own life. Look at your own life.
And there is no like right and wrong. I mean, it's these are English words. So, I mean, we all know. So, yeah, feel free to share your thoughts, please. Yes, Bindu Bhaiya, good to see you. I mean, at least see you on that. Good to see you now.
Sairam.
Please go ahead.
Sairam, brother Siddharth, Sairam. I think I'm unlucky. I've missed the last session due to every time we give a reason to justify why we missed, but I think unjustifiable. Yeah. Today I saw Pratibha sitting, then I said, okay, study circle, so I have to catch up. Love and live. You see, when there's a word LOV, love, and alive, we live. When the word O is changed to I, that is, if we only do it for ourselves, it becomes living, live. But when the word O is for others, that the same existence becomes love. So love is something, love and live is basically defining us. When we have actually the ingredients of love, it becomes more of permanent nature. And love doesn't mean the word ishq. Ishq is risk, Mohabbat is ulfat. So Hindi has a lot of meaning which does not define love. Love is nishchal prem, what is that? I think Kabir Das said, प्रेम जब अनंत हो गया तो रोम रोम संत हो गया. प्रेम जब अनंत हो गया तो रोम रोम संत हो गया, देवालय हो गया हृदय, मन तो महंत हो गया. That means when the love got into the system, into the being so much that our heart became the temple for him to reside, and man to mahant ho gaya, we became the saint at that time. So that is where the permanence and the fruition of love comes. And Bhagavan beautifully said, love as thought is truth. Love as thought. He gave a basic defining capability of love, which as thought is truth. Love as action is right conduct. Love as feeling is non-violence. And love as understanding is peace. So love has been, I don't think like candle, he melted himself, giving us love and light. So that is the paramount, parikashtha hai wo prem ki, jo Bhagwan ne hame diya hai. And just to share, in this winter season, somehow Bhagwan has inspired something which, like a small bati. I go around in the night from 9:30 to 12 to 11:30 somewhere. Try to look around, winter is quite harsh in this part of the world where now it is touching 5 degrees. And trust me, when you see people, you can't do much as much, but at least when you see that, that makes us resonate even with the small iota what love Bhagavan used to define or display, and it's so beautifully put by Swami also that love, duty without love is deplorable. And we are mostly in this particular category. Duty without love. When we go to the office, we are quite detached, chalo ye office ka kaam hai. Duty with love is desirable. Now, again, you see how he has placed love. Duty with love is desirable, but love without a sense of duty or an obligation or a responsibility or is divine. That means if we have like you were saying, Brother Siddharth, causeless happiness is bliss, I would say causeless love is divine. When you just don't have a reason to love someone or love anyone, that is where the divine spark has come in. And that is where the permanence of love has found its place. That's all I want to share for now.
Okay. No, I think great analogy and also a good summary of a lot of Swami's messages on love. So well appreciated. But one question still remains in terms of what in our life is permanent, what in our life is temporary.
There is also a message on the group that I think this is kind of piggybacking on Bindu Bhaiya's message was, that the way he defined love, I think we said that is permanent, and then live has ego. So basically, when you are looking at individualistic things, those become temporary, whereas when you're doing it for others and it's love, it's permanent. I think that's the message Meenu Aunty had shared there. And I brings ego. Yeah.
Okay, just a word, Brother Siddharth, if I can add, that's why you see all these sisters and mothers here. If there was no Pudlibai, there was no Mahatma Gandhi. If there was no Bhuvneshwari Devi, there was no Vivekananda. And I'm so inspired by this because the word mother has got other. So the one who lives for other is called a mother. Throughout Zindagi, unki sacrifice. I think the closest to a divine love is a mother's love. So that's where I wanted to put it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bindu Bhaiya, for bringing that point. I think Savitri Aunty raised her hand.
I missed that.
Okay, I think she's put her hand down. I think probably her question is answered, or maybe she may come back again. So I think this very simple answer to the question which we were thinking about is in life. The question is, again, I'm rephrasing: what is temporary? What is permanent? You pick up anything in our life, including our body, our relatives, our friends, our offices, our bank balances, our acquaintances. Okay, pick anything, all our possessions, including parents, siblings, children. All of these are temporary, right? Let me share this point with you. When Bhagwan's Samadhi happened, 24th April 2011, I was sitting right in the Kulwant Hall. Okay, and this introspection just was hitting on my head when I was seeing his body was being elevated and being put in the pit, where actual Samadhi is today. And obviously, the environment was very difficult because people were, I have never seen so many thousands of people actually crying aloud. लोग रोते हैं लेकिन जोर से नहीं रोते, मतलब इतने सारे लोग एक साथ में, and then you're engulfed with those, vibrations in the environment as such that you are also put to tears. So one is your personal relationship with Swami, one is the environment around you. So the tears were about to come from my eyes, and immediately my heart pounded and asked me this question: do you want to cry for Shiva or do you want to cry for Shava? For a moment, I just paused. I said, what kind of question is this? This is not imagination, by the way, because when you are completely into the emotion, these thoughts don't come to you. So that question came, and again, it kept on asking me, are you going to cry for Shiva or are you going to cry for Shava? What is important to you? It took almost 3 years for me personally to answer this question in a complete way. And that's why I asked this question to you guys, that introspection, ये 3 साल का introspection के बाद समझ में आया, because all the while we took Swami as permanent. So जो चीज permanent है, वो तो कभी नहीं जा सकती. That's why it's called permanent. But today Swami's physical form is not there. So the question was, do we need to cry for Shiva or do we need to cry for Shava? Shava means dead body. Shiva is obviously the divinity indweller or Swami in real sense. And the answer came is, even if Avatar's body is temporary, then what is permanent? Wait, before you answer, I have not yet asked. It's a rhetorical question. I'm not expecting answer right now. But give a deep thought to this. Because today what is happening is people are scrambling for different bodies. It's very unfortunate situation. एक body छूट गई दूसरे body के पीछे. It's important question for all of us to introspect. ये सारी bodies जो देख रहे हैं, pick up any babas in the world today, they are all going to be temporary. Someday they will disappear. Because Avatar's body is always temporary. Whereas we thought that Avatar is permanent. So when this question came as a hard hitting, it's as last time what happened, it hit my fundamentals, saying that now what do I do? There is sudden blackout. And then 3 साल का introspection के बाद, the realization dawned that if everything is temporary in this world, including Avatar's body, then what is permanent? वो हमको खोजना चाहिए, बहुत ही important है, because till we get an answer to what is permanent, we are going to scramble anywhere and everywhere and waste our lives. It will be a literal waste of life. कि आज इसके पास गए, कल उसके पास गए, इधर चले गए, उधर चले गए, because they are all going to go. You're seeing the difference, and that's why I'm going back to the topic of love. Love is our true nature. How much ever we try to search love outside, it's not going to satisfy us. Love is necessary, but love seeking outside is incorrect. Love's requirement is right. We are all in need of love because that's our true nature. So खोज सही है, our search is right, but the direction of search is not right. We are seeking love outside. कि कहीं इससे मिल जाए, कहीं उससे मिल जाए. Temporary, yes, we feel कि आज मिल गया, चलो I'm satisfied. But as Swami says, in this world everything is temporary. जिस चीज में हमको खुशी मिलती है, वही चीज हमको दुख देगा जब वो चले जाएगी. What we receive love or so-called happiness today from an object, the same object will give us sorrow once it goes away because it's temporary. The inherent nature of creation is temporary. So how much ever we scramble for love outside, it's always going to have this challenge, always. It will end up in sorrow. So any love seeking externally will always end up in sorrow. Any love seeking internally will always end up in happiness. Let me give another personal experience of mine. Some of you would have already heard it. I would have narrated here or maybe some other forum. And this is directly from Swami face to face to me. It was not a dream or interpretation or somebody told me and I understood nothing of that sort. It was face to face with divinity. Because as I told you about my story, I was very attached to Swami's physical form. Like all of us, most of us are. I was born and brought up in Sai family. Right from my birthday itself, I was always thinking Swami as God and his pictures are all everywhere. So the life always was, he was the center of our life and life was around him. And one fine day is not there. So what do you face? A vacuum suddenly. which I'm not used to. But well before that, a time came in my career or in my stay as student where Swami used to speak to me regularly. And what happens once you love a particular form and he or she speaks to you regularly, you get attached to that form. It's but natural, right? Even in human beings, it happens. So one fine day, as Swami is, typical Swami is, he stopped talking. And in our word, cold storage. Or if Ashutosh may relate in a hostile word, out of form. So 2 months, 3 months, wherever I sit, he will not come. He will just not come. In fact, I had a bad name in the hostel ki jahan baithega wahan nahi baithna because Swami will not come. So I was a person to be avoided. That was the name I had got. And no, I don't know what was the reason, but somehow Swami stopped. So he forces you to introspect. Ye kyun hua? And one fine day, I couldn't resist. I sent him tons of telegrams and finally I sat. Fortunately, I got one particular morning darshan. I got 1.1 right in the front outside the interview room. I sat with a beautiful card asking him that why he has stopped. And then incidentally, probably he had decided कि इसको पढ़ाना जरूरी है. So he came out straight to me. He didn't go anywhere else. After 3 months of cold storage, he straight away walked to me. And it was surprised to me that he's coming to me. Finally, maybe the ice is broken. But he came. He looked at the card. He looked straight into my eyes. And he just made one statement. Physical closeness is not important. These are exact words in English. Physical closeness is not important. 4 words. Physical closeness is not important. I was so desperate. I was probably in my 12th standard. So I was still quite, age-wise, maybe immature to even understand what love is all about or what attachment is all about. So I ended up arguing with him because I was so desperate. I said, no, Swami, it is important. And he said, no, it is not important. Again, I argued with him. No, it is important. It was like, tussle between the two. And I took that risk of pushing because I was so desperate. And finally, he said, ye bande ke saath baat karne se koi matlab nahi, will not understand anything. So he just said 2 words, empty heart, and walked away. He said, empty heart. 2 baar, 3 baar, 4 baar, I think takriban 5 baar he used this word, empty heart, empty heart, empty heart, empty heart, and he walked away. And for this question or this statement, I didn't have any answer. So I came back and sat on my place. And I just went into that introspection. I didn't get any answer. I didn't understand what an empty heart meant. Till almost 15 years later, this must be 20 years later, 2015, one of the Samarpan speakers, I had forgotten about it, in fact. I had no idea what the empty heart was, and after 20 saal ke baad, I had completely wiped out from my memory kaise kuch hua tha. 20 saal ke baad, Samarpan speaker came, and he actually, during his course of his talk in Dharmakshetra, he just mentioned that statement. Many times Swami will tell you empty heart. What does it mean? I mean, that came as entire scene came alive in my head. And I said, oh, this is the answer I'm likely to get after 20 years. And then he says, Swami always says empty heart. It means you need to empty your heart, which is filled with attractions, attachments, desires, perceptions about the world, likes and dislikes about the world, pull towards the world. If you empty the heart, then God will come and reside. If you don't empty your heart, where is the place for God to reside? Then second aspect, heart is a single seat sofa and not a musical chair. These are Swami's words. Many times you will hear this in discourses. Heart is a single seat sofa, not a musical chair. So आज रामा को बिठाया, कल कृष्णा को बिठाया, कृष्णा कुछ काम नहीं करता छोड़ दो, बुद्धा को बिठाया वो भी काम का नहीं है, चलो शिवा को बिठाया वो भी काम का नहीं. It's not a musical chair. It is a single seat sofa. Once you have God, he permanently cements his place in your heart. Then we may leave him, but he will not leave us. That's a promise which Swami has given us. You may leave me and go, but I will never leave you. But before that, हमको काम करना है कि heart को empty करना है. So what Swami was, I'm coming back to the story. What Swami was telling me in that experience is, if you have physical closeness, it's going to be temporary. That's why he said physical closeness is not important because aaj hai, kal nahi hoga. Which as a tiny tot or maybe at a 12th standard level, I didn't understand the gravity because I always felt Swami is permanent. But today, after the entire sequence of events, so many events have happened, we realize today that even Avatar's body is temporary. And that's why he gave that message, empty the heart, because he wants to be permanent with us, not temporary. We are seeking temporary Swamis, but actual reality is he wants to give us a permanent Swami in us. Now, isko kaise dhunda jaye? Okay, that's a roadmap. Where should we search? Okay, let me give an analogy to this. Okay, coming back to our topic, this was an explanation of what is permanent, what is temporary. And I would sincerely request everyone, give a deep thought. Don't end with this study circle. Give a deep thought in our own lives, whatever lives we have led, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 70 years. What is temporary, what is permanent? कितना चीज हमने खोई है, कितनी चीज हमको और भी हमारे साथ है और रहेगी कि नहीं रहेगी. Our life is a book. So let's read from our life what is temporary, what is permanent. ये बहुत ही important है because so that we don't end up wasting time on temporary things. Let's do our duties. It's not that we stop doing our duty. We do our duties. But let's not get overboard on duty and then expect so many things out of it and then eventually get sorrow from it. Because everywhere our true nature is we are seeking love. हर एक चीज में हम प्यार ढूंढ रहे हैं. But the real love resides within us. So let me give you an analogy. Okay, give a thought. Just visualize all of us are sitting in living room. Sorry, all of us sitting in a bedroom, respective bedrooms. Okay, just visualize. Right? Simple. We're sitting in our bedrooms. अपना घर है, bedroom में बैठे हुए. Now you feel that I'm hungry. भूख लगी है. I'm hungry. So what do? There is a living room and there is a kitchen. Will I go to living room or will I go to the kitchen? Anyone can answer. Very simple answer. भूख लगी है तो कहाँ जाऊंगा? लिविंग रूम जाऊंगा या किचन जाऊंगा या बाथरूम जाऊंगा?
I think I heard people say kitchen, but they were on low.
Kitchen.
Naturally, right? But what is happening is, same example. I am hungry. I am sitting in bedroom. I've just got up from my chair to walk towards kitchen. Beach mein, I'm just giving for sake of example, say Ashutosh is sitting in my living room. Ashutosh comes and tells me, यार एक बहुत अच्छी ad आ रही है, एक nice advertisement is coming, I want you to see it. I go towards living room. He's sitting there, he's watching a TV. He stops me and tells, a nice ad is going to come, I want you to watch this. Or some song, whatever, just some entertainment thing is going to come, I want you to watch this. So I stop, I take my deviation, go towards living room and sit with him, watch that ad. देख रहा हूँ ad हो गया, then एक movie आ रही है, कुछ serial आ रहा है, something happened. What happens in some time? A bell rings. We open the door, some relatives walk in. Some relatives, friends, जो भी हो, some people walk in. So we know them. So अरे आओ बैठो, चाय coffee पियोगे, whatever that happens. Then they get into the interaction. कि अरे हम लोग यहाँ गए थे, तो we thought you were close by, so we came to see you. Okay, थोड़ी देर के बाद वो निकल गए. Then came some more people. Then they also got into that conversation. Now, what is happening is, I got up from my chair in my bedroom because I was hungry. But instead of going to kitchen, which is my destination, I went to the living room. You seeing the difference? Now, my next question is, till how long you will remain in the living room? How long you will remain in the living room? Give a guess. No right or wrong answers. Answer actually is very simple. Imagine yourself, you are walking to the living room, you are hungry, but how long you will remain in the living room? Anyone?
Until all your work is done in the living room where you are needed.
But point is, I'm hungry.
Hunger can wait. It's not primary. It is more important to serve than to serve your stomach. So the people who have come.
I'm desperately hungry.
So,
Oh my God.
You'll find your way to the kitchen when the hunger is unbearable, when nothing else matters, and you can't think of anything else except that you're desperate. You're visualizing the food, you are imagining what you're going to eat, that's when you'll just ignore everyone and everything and head straight for the kitchen.
Precisely. So
Oh.
it's not that Minu auntie's question answer is wrong. Okay, don't get me that. Both answers are right. But this is precisely gives a picture of her life. Okay. My moving to kitchen is dependent on how much hungry I am. Getting the point? So if hunger come hai, I can manage. So I will go with what Minu auntie said. Till my responsibilities, everybody, is taken care of. Relatives आए, आशुतोष को भी खुश किया कि मैंने ad भी देखा उसके साथ बैठ के या movie देखा. Relatives के साथ भी मैंने time spend किया. Because my hunger is not so high. ठीक है, I can manage. But in case I'm extremely hungry, maybe I'll satisfy Ashutosh by sitting 10 minutes to watch something which he wants me to show. Relatives have come, I'll still find a way, excuse myself for a minute, go to the kitchen. Because I can't live. I need that food. Right? So our movement to kitchen is subject to how much hungry we are. And that hunger is love for God. That hunger is love for God. The question that we wanted to discuss, why should we love God? How to love God is a separate next level. Why should we love God? God currently is an abstract entity. I'm keeping Swami aside because it will lead to physical, non-physical form. Okay, keep the Swami aspect aside. God as an abstract entity, okay, is sitting in the kitchen. Okay, God is sitting in the kitchen. The world is represented by the living room. Jahan par friends, relatives, entertainment, movies, dance, everything is happening. I am on the edge, which is my bedroom. If I'm desperately hungry, I'll straight away walk to the kitchen. I would still request Ashutosh, just hold on. I just desperately need to have something. I'll give my priorities will change because my hunger is enormous. I can't bear anymore. If my hunger is bearable, I'll say, wait, let me go to the living room, get myself entertained by everything. And then I'll go to the kitchen. So the hunger for God is represented by the hunger that we have within to go to the kitchen or still stuck in the living room. You seeing the difference? So again, introspection point for us, how hungry we are. Everybody wants to have God because that's a real nature. Swami says, I am God, you are also God. Only thing is, I know I am God, you don't know that you are God. His entire sojourn on earth was only on one point, to make us realize that we are also God like him. And that's why he says, I and you are one, there is no difference. The only thing is, we only understood intellectually, we don't know the reality. We have not experienced it. So ये hunger for God, जो भूख है, is what actual love for God is. It's like that spring. हमारा ये real nature है, which is the true nature of love, which we discussed in the beginning. Why love is necessary? Answering Parveen Auntie's question. Why love is our true nature. That's a comfort zone. The more and more we go far away, it's like a spring. It should come back to to our real self. It's like a magnet. Swami gives the example of magnet and iron filings. Agar iron filings rust ho gayi hai, then the attraction towards magnet will not happen. And that's why these iron filings in our example will remain a lot in the kitchen, in the living room, and not come to the kitchen. So iron filings को हम लोग जब साफ करेंगे, purify करेंगे, which in our example, it will become hungry to go to the kitchen. जैसे वो kitchen की तरफ जाएगा, immediately magnet will pull it towards it. Okay, you have a question. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask one thing. In this case, what if I am not looking at God as a separate entity? Okay. What if I see God in everybody? Then how does this pan out? As in, I feel love, okay, or I feel a connectedness, okay, because I mean, God always says, and you can feel it at times, or most of the time, that God is in everyone. So then how would you explain this, or how does one then go about this?
Then very simple. You're sitting in kitchen. You can never be hungry. You will never seek love outside because you're complete by yourself. Your love himself. You're one with your true nature. You are a realized soul because you're sitting in the kitchen, one with God. You're not sitting in living room. You're not sitting in bedroom. You're already in kitchen.
Or maybe I should just make it a little bit more interesting to say that you're always carrying some food with you wherever you go. So living room or wherever, you always have food with you.
And Sai Ram, I have a query. If is it not getting, you're cutting off from the world? And that's also not correct, I feel.
No, you're
It's
not
like
cutting from.
cutting
Okay.
from the living room and going to the kitchen when people need you in the living room. So what is that?
Very good question. See, one important point is, if you are in the kitchen with God, okay, out of extreme hunger, you walked into the kitchen and you found God, love at first sight. What happens when you walk to the living room, because you have a physical body and duties to perform? You're always walking with God to the living room as an eternal companion. Sanatana Sarthya Swami says, he's catching your hand and walking to the living room.
So
you will
beautiful.
never lose him.
Thank you.
You will never lose him. And he will tell you, इसके साथ प्यार से बात करो. All the Swami's principles that we spoke about, which love all, serve all, speak, if you cannot oblige, speak obligingly, help ever, hurt never, see God in everybody, will come in real life. Because God is catching your hand. He is the most powerful conscience which is constantly directing your mind to see the world accordingly. You will only see beautiful, even in the living room, aapko sab divinity dikhenge, which is what Aarti auntie said. You will see God in everybody.
So beautiful.
Because he's catching your hand.
So basically what you're saying is, at the point where you have found God and you have realized that, then you are just a giver of love. You are just loving, and you are not
Absolutely.
looking for what you're going to get. And because you're already satiated, you're already full of love.
Absolutely. Because you don't need, it's no longer your need, right? See, you're no longer hungry because you're already satisfied. आपने मसाला डोसा खा चुके हो. Now if I tell you another 10 more खाओगे, तो you don't need it, you're already satisfied. So you will never ask, you will always give. Which is where comes to another message of Swami is, if you are filled with love, then you can offer love to others. If you are filled with anger, sorrow, negativity, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, that is what will emanate from you. Which again, another message of Swami is, everything is reflection, resound, reaction to what you see in the world. You are filled with love of God because you're sitting in the kitchen. And that's why you see love everywhere. You see God in everything. You will never be attached to anything in the living room. Because, see, it's like Kohinoor versus stone. If I give you Kohinoor and if I give you stone, which one you will pick up? Ladies should answer very quickly. Diamonds are the closest friends.
Kohinoor.
Naturally. That Kohinoor is divinity. So आप पत्थर को क्यों importance दोगे? Living room में पत्थर बैठे हुए हैं, आपके साथ Kohinoor है. You will never be attached to the world. If God is catching your hand, you will never be attached to the world. You will follow, just do your duties as per the divine command. Without attachment, and if you're not attached, you will never have sorrow. You will never have desires also. That's a beauty. So you're going to the kitchen. From there, you see the world. It is divinity all around. When you see the world from the living room, it is all separate. Sense of otherness, mine, thine, ye, wo, acha, bura, sab duality dikhega. Now the difference is, all we need to look at is how much hungry we are. And that's why answering the question of why should we love God, because that is where the eternity is. That is where the beauty is. And he is sitting in the kitchen. All of us are hungry on this session. That's why we are sitting and discussing this topic. We are hungry. The question is how much hungry we are. Are we desperate? तो फिर लिविंग रूम के पास देखोगे भी नहीं. मैं आशुतोष को बोलूंगा कल देखेंगे. I will see, record it and keep. I'll see tomorrow. First, I'll go to the kitchen. My life's priorities will change. God is my first priority. Everything else comes next. And since we just enjoyed Christmas few days ago, Swami's famous acronym on joy, J-O-Y, is Jesus first, others next, yourself last. Jesus represents God. So God always first. Your priorities will change, which also we discussed in the past in so many sessions, that between the two, what will pick up, creator or creation? So how to look at this? When you look at our decision making in our lives, when you're going through the process of decision making at different facets of life, do we give priority to God or do we give priority to the world? You're seeing the difference. So it all depends on a simple example. Love in a more easier to understand language is hunger for God. Because that's the true nature. God is, what is God? God is a true nature. God is love. God is, Swami himself says, right? God is love, live in love. The authority himself has said, God is love. That's a true nature. How much hunger we have to go back to that source will define where we are walking.
May I ask you one question, please?
Sure.
Yeah. So tell me, I would like to know, how does that love feel? What is that? What do you feel when you're experiencing that love? Tell me. I would like to know, because most of the time one has experienced the love of, say, family, friends, and things like that. So please tell me, what is that love that you're talking about? What is the feeling of that love?
The same joy that you receive when you have Kohinoor in your hand. If you have got Kohinoor in your hand, will you have sorrow anytime? See, good question. So how your life changes? First thing is, you will accept everything as His grace. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. Because He's catching your hand. You got Kohinoor in your hand. फिर वो पत्थर से, वो शाइनी पत्थर हो या काला पत्थर हो, सफेद पत्थर हो, लाल पत्थर हो, क्या मतलब है? ठीक है. It will come and go. Your ability to accept tremendously increases. Okay. Your instant state of happiness will emanate just like that, without any reason. The way small tiny kids are. They're happy for no reason. We always search for happiness. कि यार ये अगर ये मूवी आज शाम को 8 बजे आती है तो I'll be very happy. आज संडे है. I look for reason. As we grow older, we look for reasons for happiness. A tiny small baby will always be happy for no reason. आप देखो यहीं से वहां कूदेंगे, घूमेंगे, बातचीत करेंगे. They will always be happy. That state we will reach. The state of innocence, the state of purity, the state of joy. You will never ever look for reasons to be happy. You're always happy. Because you got a source of happiness with you, which again Swami says, the true happiness lies in union with God, and God who is catching our hand. In our analogy, in the kitchen, and from kitchen to the living room. So what another aspect is, in our analogy, you will start living in the kitchen and visit living room. Currently what we are doing, we're living in the living room and going to kitchen sometimes and coming back. You seeing the difference? Your residence will move to living room than the living room itself. Sorry, your residence will become kitchen than the living room itself. Sorry, Ashutosh, you saying.
आप ये बोल रहे हैं कि basically our own inner transformation is the indication of how much we feel His love in our heart, or
Absolutely.
how close we are. Okay.
Your
So
expectation
our
of the world will reduce. You will not ask for anything from anybody. Mila to theek hai, nahi mila to bhi theek hai. And obviously, what happens, we will have a separate session on actual experiences of moving to kitchen.
Mhm.
Actual experiences means when I will tell Ashutosh कि मैंने बहुत देख लिया, अभी मुझे बहुत भूख लगी है, मैं किचन की तरफ जाऊंगा, वो pathway, when I get up from my chair from living room and I go to the kitchen, that entire journey is absolutely blissful. Why? सिंपल आंसर, जब भी भूख लगी है, किचन की तरफ मैं अगर चल रहा हूं, तो किचन में जो खाना बन रहा है उसकी भी fragrance will start coming right on the way. And that fragrance, when it comes to us, what experiences that we will have in that journey towards kitchen is absolutely blissful journey. Okay, that will require a separate session. We will definitely cover that because that's an important element in this entire topic. Yeah, Ashutosh.
I was going to just quote Swami on this issue of love and permanence. इस बारे में स्वामी ने क्या कहा? So Swami has said that if prema is shown for the sake of obtaining some material benefit, then it will last for a very short time and will wear out very quickly. So that is a separate feeling. This is again piggybacking on Aarti Auntie's question. And then he said, no material object is permanent, and therefore prema shown for acquiring such objects is also not permanent. And then Swami said Atma or Jiva, or basically an inner self that we've been talking about, that symbolizes truth and hence is permanent. Therefore, prema, which is attached to the Atma, will also be true and permanent. And then Swami goes on to say that, it exists in every Jeev and everybody. But yeah, Aarti Auntie, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so initially this is what I wanted to say about what is permanent. I was just thinking, and what just came to me was, I was, let's say I was meditating. So what just came to me then was that Satya is permanent and Satya has to be lived. It's a life of living. It is not just speaking the truth. It is truth in every fiber of your being, in your every act, in your every word. The second that came to me was dharma. And for dharma, the explanation was that is your character. Everything is dependent on your character. So along with that, when strength of character is there, when it is built, then along with that comes sacrifice and purity, which becomes dharma. And all this leads to prema, and prema expresses itself in being mindful. Pranava also came. Om is also permanent. It is the sound of all creation, of the universe. It cannot be negated, it cannot be denied, it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered. Then silence. This can be perceived in silence. And basically, you are at that stage of love where you give to others what they want rather than what you want to give them. Supposing, I'm very keen that my child should learn how to meditate. But right now, my child is having a problem in school. I have to first go and sort that problem out. Then I can lead my child on to higher things, when my child is ready. So love is giving what, rather than giving what the other person needs. Like you can't give sugar to a diabetic. You have to be mindful of that. That is love. And it's a vibration. It's a wave. It's a feeling. It is, it just subsumes and covers everything else. So this is basically what I understood. And of course, the end being that you become very close to your own Atma. You realize your own Atma. So this is what I was told very clearly is the process. First Satya, then go to Dharma, and finally, when you are ready for it, Prema will come to you in this form.
Thanks for sharing, Andy. Thank you. I'm just trying to be mindful of the time here also, Siddharth. So we are already 10 past, but we start like 5 minutes late. So I sometimes give that luxury to all of us. And sometimes, people are just willing to stay on. So we can do that. But also there's a question which Praveen Auntie has on the group, which I think is actually very appropriate for next session, because that's what we're going to talk about. How, so she mentioned the connection with Swami was total during darshans, but I know he and I were one, and this I think she was talking about when you were referring to that, hunger and all of that, and then but now it's an effort to connect to his love. So I think wo kaise kare connect and how to continue to love is probably the best for the next session, but I'll leave that to you, and if you have any final thoughts to conclude.
Yeah, no, I think when I read that point, and continuing the same analogy to answer Parveen Auntie's question, is the same Swami, the same God, the divine, the person who is sitting in the kitchen. We call it person so that we can relate. The same God, or the person who is sitting in kitchen, came to our living room, stayed with us for 85 years, and said, I am the ultimate master chef. Come and eat there. Don't come and eat here. So all that 85 years he did was, he kept on saying, there is the kitchen, there is the kitchen. I go there. I don't sit here. Now the effort we have to do is follow his command and go to the kitchen, because that is where he's sitting. For 85 years, he sat in the living room with us to wake us and say that I am the master chef of the kitchen. Come there. That is where you will satisfy the hunger. You're seeing the difference. And that's why his sojourn on earth in physical form also is temporary, because the living room itself is temporary. Now the effort is, the reality of the master chef is in the kitchen. So wo kahan kaise jana hai is what we will see the next time. But I hope it is crystal clear to everybody that why should we love God? The reason for loving God. It's actually funny to ask this question itself, because God is everything to us. It's our own real self. But still, because we are far away from our internal self, that's why we ask this question. Why should we love God? Simple answer is, kitchen is where we are hungry, and that is where our hunger will be satisfied than sitting in the living room. Okay. To conclude, again, 2 points to introspect individually. If you're not done already on permanent and temporary, go back and revisit our lives. What is temporary? What is permanent? Second introspection that we need to do is how much hungry we are. Because that hunger is love for God. Love is again a very abstract concept. I cannot put into words saying that iska matlab pyar hai, iska matlab pyar hai. You're seeing the point, and that's why I'm trying to correlate with hunger. Is the best analogy we can explain to relate what love is. Okay. And
how can we say how hungry we are?
That you have to ask yourself.
No, matlab, kaise hum, how are you going to see it? What you're putting it on a scale of 0 to 10, is that
No.
how you'd like us? No.
You can never measure love in decimals or in points, in numbers. Okay. Since you asked this question, how intensely I think about him in my day-to-day life. Do I give God a priority in my everything? In first thing itself in the morning, God, khane ke pehle, God is my living companion with me in my thoughts, at least to start with. Do I give him the priority? When the decision comes, do I think about him first before the world, or do I tell him, you wait, I'll finish the world and then I'll come to you? So look at your priority list. Is God number 1 or 2, 3, 4? The moment you put in 2, 3, 4 is as good as there's no priority of God in our life. That level of hunger is defined by number 1. Are we really hungry for him? That wo sabse pehle wohi dimag mein rahega, right? If I'm hungry, just go by the same actual analogy. If I'm hungry, I'll run to the kitchen. If I'm okay with living in the living room, my hunger is still to reach that climax where I have to leave everything. Okay, important point to note, again, I'm mentioning, it's not leaving the world and going away. It's not leaving our duties and going away. Okay, don't get me wrong that, you go to the kitchen and forget the living room. I don't care about my relatives, nothing, no indifference to relatives of the world. It is just the nazariya aapka change ho jayega, which is what I mentioned. You will start seeing the world from living room, then seeing the world from the living room, you will start seeing the world from the kitchen, then start seeing the world from the living room as we are today. Your focus will be different. You're not leaving your responsibilities and duties and running away. That's not the hunger for God is. Giving him the priority of life in everything you do is the measure, you can say, whether how much you're giving him the priority to. And that answer you will get from the first introspection. what is permanent, what is temporary. If we are a smart accountants, smart investors, we will always invest in something which will give us permanent returns, not in something which is temporary returns. World gives us temporary returns. God gives us permanent returns. So if you are even selfish, pure selfish investors, invest in God, don't invest in the world. Invest in kitchen, don't invest in living room. But this has to born out of our own introspection, not by discussion on study cycle, because study cycle में एक बार आज आपको अच्छा लगेगा, कल अच्छा लगेगा, 3 दिन के बाद आप अगर सोचोगे तो probably you would have forgotten this also. But if it is born out of your introspection, your conviction is high, your focus and priority will be much more intense as compared to what we are just discussing by word of mouth. So it's important for us, this we will not take in the next session about what is the answer. It's our individual life, our own journey towards kitchen. Look and ask ourselves, what is temporary, what is permanent? And second aspect is how much hungry I am for God. Okay, that individually will have to answer. It's not going to be, because each one is at different stage. No point in discussing in the open forum. It's an individual homework that we need to do. Okay, next session we'll complete this aspect about how to love God. Okay, what are the aspects that we can look at? And then the final aspect would be when you actually start walking towards kitchen, what happens to you? That will be laced with a lot of experiences. Sure.
Okay.
That's it.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Also, just one final thing about Samastaloka, I wanted to also thank Meenu Aunty for today sharing her video so that we can finally see her. I want to recognize that. But thank you everyone for your inputs. बहुत अच्छा लगा, आज मजा आया. But we'll continue this discussion, as Siddharth said, in a couple of weeks. After that, we'll actually have a 3-week break. So let's look forward to the next session in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much, Sai.
Let's conclude with Samastaloka.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you, Ashu.
समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.